I buy a lot of bales. And this year, I sold 2,000 bales that I didn't need. I'm not in the business of selling hay. It's not my deal. But we just had that much extra that we didn't have to use. I'm a skeptical person by nature. It was my dad that really wanted to do this. Mineral for bison is always a little more difficult. They don't really go after it as much. We just weren't 100% sure what our results actually were. Then you went out every 3 days and you hauled mineral out to the animals and you prayed that it didn't rain, even though you're a farmer and you need it to rain, because if it rained, it washed all your mineral away. We actually have some friends in the States that we had talked to them, and I said, well, how are you keeping your calves in such good shape? And he said, well, I'm trying this Riomax tub, Neil. We really enjoy it. We think it's going to work out. And I looked around his pastures and stuff. I said, well, there's no way that that's all you're using, because you don't have grass on the ground. Like, it doesn't look good. And he says, I swear, this is what I'm using. And so we bit the bullet and we decided, you know what, we're going to, if it's working for him here in the desert, it should work for us up here with some green grass. So we put it out, and a week later, I was talking to my dad and I said, I don't think this is going to work, because they haven't eaten any of it. There's still a lot of tub out there. It doesn't look like they've ate anything, but it still seemed to shine the animals up. They seemed happier going after it, and there was always a head in it. You're taking a lot on faith when you first start. You're hoping everything's going to work out, but when your animals physically look better, well, then you feel better about what you're doing. So after the first year, we seen that our calves came in and we were averaged about 40 pounds heavier on all our calves. Now we're running the tub year round. Some herds were 15 pounds heavier, some were 100 pounds heavier. So it was all kind of really showed us that our mineral program wasn't what it should have been, because we've seen so much improvement on some stuff. Average buffalo calf price is $4 a pound. So if you go 4 times 4, so another $160 on top of your animals, now you're actually getting some good money. You're actually seeing the money you're spending coming back and helping you instead of just maintaining you. And we went from an 80 to 82% Preg check rate to about a 90 to 92%. So we got 10% on the first year, which was amazing, because anything above 80% is where you start making money. Seeing how all of a sudden you could, with a mineral program, and I was not running no mineral program before. I was running what I thought was a very good mineral program. With a changed mineral program, I can gain 10% on that calving crop. It was just amazing, amazing. And I'm seeing my father-in-law and my other guys who are using the product, they're saying, they're not seeing the drastic increase I have, but they're seeing, 6 to 8%, which is still a lot of money in your pocket. I actually put them out in the winter time for my herd at home. So I fed them 8 bales a week, and 2 weeks into it, I was down to 6 bales a week. So we've definitely seen the difference there. And we started it about midwinter, so it wasn't like there was a bunch of feed laying around they were eating. We probably dropped 20%, to be fair, across the board. Now, I raise and run about 4,000 head of buffalo, so I buy a lot of bales. And this year, I sold 2,000 bales that I didn't need. So it was a big difference for us. I'm not in the business of selling hay. It's not my deal, but we just had that much extra that we didn't have to use. It makes you feel good when you realize that your day-to-day expenses go down. Getting more calves is great, getting everything stuff, but when you have to write less checks for all the stuff that you're doing, that's what makes you feel happy at the end of the day. In the last few years, I can go and count my calves, but I can't tell you how many were born today, because the cow cleans out really quick, the calf's up and running, and they're back with the herd within 2 to 3 hours, which usually took 6 to 7 hours in the past. So we're seeing that the calves are just way healthier, way more active, and mom's doing better right off the bat. So it's just made a huge difference on that. Since I started on the Riomaxes, I am about 80% done within the first 40 to 50 days of calving season, and usually that would take me 60 days. Every day that you calf a day earlier, you get an extra 2 pounds of calf at the end of the day. So bringing those all in real quick at the beginning sure makes a big difference. On average, it takes a bison a day longer to digest their food than it does a beef. So we kind of get a kick advantage of utilizing feed to begin with. So I think that's why in our bison group, like, we're eating a 1/16 of a pound of Riomax a day, where if you'll probably be closer to that 1/8 of a pound with the beef. And if you can do something that the beef guys are doing for half the price and get the same results, you're absolutely crazy not to do it. Everybody has dads that are the stingy dads in the farm, and they'll tell you save your money and keep everything there. Right now, my dad tells me, if you're not using this on the bison and you're crazy. It says, And that's from guys who don't like to spend money. And they're saying, you can't lose with this product. You're making money hands down. For us, it's more than paid for itself. I'm feeding this mineral for free. The guys are sending me a bill, but it's not costing me absolutely a thing to feed this stuff. So it's been excellent for us.